Hello everyone, this is Board Games and Bourbon. I'm Glenn Flaherty, and right now I'm going to tell you about Bicycle's new game called Alpha, which is an inexplicably designed game with a lot of bizarre choices, as if they saw hobby games from afar and said, let's do that. And this is what they came up with. Now, the reason Bicycle got into games was, this is actually part of their second wave. They had some research that said when people buy their first set of cards, they usually buy a board game too. So they saw the success of the hobby game market and decided they were going to be in the hobby game market. The first wave of games included a game that was basically a Mills Bourne knockoff. It was too complicated. It wasn't as charming or as simplistic as the original. And then they came out with Tattoo Stories, which is kind of like a win, lose, or draw. Hey, I drew a funny tattoo. Haha, you win. This kind of game, right? Social game. This is part of the second wave here called Alpha, where you're playing as wolves. And I want to say they're almost inspired by Parks or by Wingspan, and they're almost there in lots of ways, even in the packaging, which has a cool little insert, except it's not made correctly. And the game itself has a lot of rules on top of it that really are, I think, obfuscate that it's just a roll and move game at the bottom of the day, at the end of the day. And I would also say, if this is aimed at people who bought their first set of cards and were buying a game, I would say this is correct. This game is below Gateway. It's perhaps above Monopoly, but it is not a gateway game yet into the hobby. So here's basically what happens. There's going to be a bunch of different players over here, okay? And you're going to get a bunch of wolves. Now, you're going to have individual wolves like this. That's just one little wolf. And they're going to have what they call a double wolf that you can put down in one action, okay? And what you're going to do is you're deciding where to put wolves in this area. And you're trying to have majority control of all of these different animals. Now, here's the first odd choice. So this is aimed at families. The point of the game is you're trying to eat all these cute animals. And I don't know if on my family game, I want my game based around eating a lot of animals. And they're dead feasting on their carcass. But anyway, that's the theme. And so what you're going to do is you're going to go around and everyone's going to put one of their wolves one at a time around the board, okay? And you're just trying to get majority control. Now, oddly, when you place your people, if you go up here into what's called the deep forest, the bigger point animals, you have to take a 1-point hit every time you did it. So the blue went there twice, 1, 2. The red went there once, they go down. You start on 5. It goes from 0 to 5 as the starting point, and then it goes all the way up to 30. And then if you go down here, it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to have majority control. Every one of the animals has a slightly different condition. The scavenger here says you can only have a maximum of one wolf per type. Others say you have to have a certain number of people before you can even approach them. So after you do all this, what you're going to do is you're going to fight for an animal. So we'll start with this caribou here. Now, the art is really, really good. And this is what I say. It reminds me of like Parks. I mean, the art is on point. No doubt. Look at that moose. Look at that bison. Just great looking stuff here, okay? But then you get these dice. And every animal gets their own little die. Now, look at those, man. Those are pretty similar in color. They're actually pretty hard to tell apart when you're trying to put them down. Not really friendly even to my eye. So what you do is you roll the dice, and you're going to get a few results here. If you're the person who has the majority in an area, you get all of the meat. I rolled 8 from this carcass, and let's just say red was in the lead. They had 2. They would have just gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yay, they got it, okay? But if you're tied, then you go to this kind of, paper, rock, scissors, prisoner's dilemma thing where you're going to flip these discs, right? You just choose what side you want. You can share or you can fight. And if you all share, you divide it. If one person fights and the other shares, the person who fights gets it. And if you both fight, someone gets injured, okay? And then that person's out for a few rounds. Now, ultimately, when you're deciding where you're going in these places, the person who goes last has the most power to be a tiebreaker. They can see where they can hedge their bets when they're placing. If they can see like they can easily become the majority by going somewhere, they're just going to pop in there and try to get it. There's these other discs over here that say, like, if you roll and you get a D, it means dead. It means you're out of the game, you're dead. So that's a high stakes one there. That's part of a gamble, but you're just at the whim of the die. Maybe the decision is, do you want to go there? That's definitely the one you're only going to go to if you're going to lose. Okay, so you're just going to place. The last person has the most chance to decide And then you have really no control what the other person does. So, you might as well just go paper, rock, scissors there. And then you get points. And in the game we played, the first person got over halfway up the board in one turn. They got to 18. So at no point was it really challenging. I didn't really feel in control, because I thought I had majority and then I didn't because of the last player. And then I either got nothing, which is what X means. X means I didn't get any food, or I was in charge and I got 3, or I got something that said you had to share and I was just at the whim of the die. So you're just kind of along for the ride as the game plays out. Okay, fine. The pieces are really nice. They're wood. They look good. It even has a board here. And this insert for the board looks really good. You can put your pieces, but then there's just these weird choices that I don't understand. Like, if you get like Parks or something, it has a board, I should say a case where when you put the board in, it actually locks it in. It locks all the pieces in. So you put the pieces down, the board will lock the pieces in. A lot of hobby games do that. And this is what I mean. It looks like they came from far away, but it doesn't lock over the pieces. It locks over here. So all the pieces are free, so they can just slide out. And then you get a rule book, but the rule book doesn't fit in the box. And it doesn't fit that way with the ledges either. I just don't understand it. And then the game is about eating little cute animals. So anyway, that's Alpha. That's their attempt. It's not for anyone who follows my channel. Anyway, if you have questions about how to play it, you shouldn't, because there's only like 3 rules. But if you do, let me know, and I'm happy to help. So until next time, people, take care and enjoy quarantine. Bye.